Okay, let's begin. Isaiah or Yashayahu, chapter 11. And the rod shall come forth from the stump of Isaac. I think that's it. It's Yishak. And a sprout from the roots shall bear fruit. The Ruach of Yahuwah shall rest upon him. The Ruach of wisdom and understanding, the Ruach of counsel and might, the Ruach of knowledge and the fear of Yahuwah, and shall make him breathe in fear of Yahuwah. And he shall not judge by the sight of his eyes, nor decide by the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and shall decide with straightness for the meek ones of the Eretz, and shall smite the Eretz with the rod of his mouth, and slay the wrong with the breath blast, or the ruach, the spirit, of his lips. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and trustworthiness the girdle of his waist. And a wolf shall dwell in with the lamb, and a leopard lie down with the young goat, and a calf with the young lion, and the that word is farling, and the farling together with the young, with a little child leading them. A cow and a bear shall feed their young ones, and lie down together, as a lion eats straw like an ox. Hello, Ada. And the nursing child shall play at the cobra's hole, and the weaned child shall put his hand in the adder's den. They do no evil, nor destroy in all my set apart mountain. For the Eretz shall be filled with the knowledge of Yahuwah, and the Mayim over the sea, as the Mayim over the sea. In other words, there's going to be so much of the glory of God that it's just like how much water is in the ocean, that it covers the bottom of the sea, right? Verse 10. And in that yom there shall be a root of Yishak. I don't know how to say that. I'm pretty sure that's Isaac. Standing as a banner to the people. To him the gentle shall seek, and his rest. To him the Gentiles shall seek, and his rest shall be established. And it shall be that in that yom, that Yahuwah sets his hand against the second time, again, a second time, to recover the remnant. What? That sounds like he's already had a remnant. You hear that? A second time to recover the remnant of his people who are left from Asher, from Mitzrayim, from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and let me think how you say that one. Elam, and from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall raise a banner for the nations, and gather the outcasts of Israel, or Yisrael, and assemble the disappeared of Yehuda. That means that all the Jews that are in all the countries, he'll reassemble them, right? The ones that have disappeared, right? From the four corners of the Eretz, and the envy of Ephraim, or Ephraim, shall turn aside, and the adversaries of Yehuda be cut off. Okay, so if you want to know why Ephraim would be doing that, you go to Hosea chapter 9, and you'll find out why Ephraim it did not have he doesn't get accepted. That I believe that's the American church. I'll read that to you right now after this. And the envy of Ephraim shall turn aside, and the adversaries of Yehuda be cut off. They won't get to go into this pleasant place where the animals don't hurt you, right? Ephraim shall not envy Yehuda, and Yehuda not trouble Ephraim, but they shall fly down upon the shoulder of the Philishim toward the west, together. Oh, well, maybe they do get they do get saved. Together plunder the people of the east, their hand stretching forth to Edom and Moab. Now, Edom and Moab, that's Persia and the Medes. Okay, so Persia is Iran. So it says their hand stretching forth on Edom, that would be to Iran. And the children of Ammon shall be subject to them. And Yahuwah shall put under the ban the tongue of the sea of Mitzrayim, the sea of Egyptians, the sea of people, the Egyptians. They won't be able to talk, I guess, because it says that they're going to put under the ban the tongue of the Egyptians. And they shall wave his hand over the river with the mighty of his spirit, and shall smite it in the 7 streams, and shall cause men to tread it in sandals. And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, those left from Ashur, as it was from Yisrael in the Yomim when he came up from the land of Mitzrayim. So saying the remnant that comes from South Africa will be able to walk on dry land. Just like the days when Moses split the sea. Okay, let's see what God split. Yahuwah split the sea. Let me see so I can tell you about the bad situation with Ephraim. Because Ephraim has a problem. Now it goes on and on and on about it, but they prepare for Baal, and that's Lord. That's why a lot of the people who think don't realize they're Jews are hanging out in a Christian church worshiping Baal. See that on verse 8. But I want to get over here. There's a lot of lamenting, but it gets real clear here at the end. Let's see. Let's start right here. Chapter 4 of Hosea says, "Hear the word of Yahuwah, you children of Yisrael, for Yahuwah has a case against the inhabitants of the land. Wait, I missed a line. For there is no truth or kindness or knowledge of Elohim in the land. Swearing and lying and murdering and stealing and breaking wedlock having increased, and bloodshed follows bloodshed. Therefore the land mourns, and everyone living there languishes, and the beast of the field, and the bird of the Shemaim, and the fish of the sea are taken away. However, let no one strive or remove another, for your people are like those striving with a priest. And you shall stumble in the Yom, and the prophet shall also stumble with you in the night, in the Layla. And I shall make your mother perish." And that's talking about Shiva. There's worship of what they call Mother Earth or Shiva, even in Israel. And it's also Shiva is who the Muslims worship. They worship Shiva in Islam. And so that's why it says, "I shall make your mother perish." Okay? Not that she really exists. It's all fake. But, they're worshiping a woman deity. And in the Christian church, you have to be careful. I've heard people say, and I think that it's true, that the Shekinah glory, they talk about Shekinah. And that also can be that mother, that female Shekinah goes along with Shiva. Okay, going on to verse 6. "My people have perished for lack of knowledge, because you have rejected knowledge. I reject you from being priest for me, since you have forgotten the Torah of your Elohim," or your Eluah. "I also forget your children." I always wonder why he calls me his priest. Well, he calls me his messenger and tells me to bring petitions into the holies of holies. So I go, my God, only a priest can do that. And obviously, because I don't ignore his knowledge, his understanding from the scripture. That's why he chooses me. I'm a nobody, you know? Nobody wants to listen to me. Not really. I mean, if you look at my numbers, I mean, I have 600 subscribers, but I can't carry very many in a YouTube, right? Which tells you not many people want to hear the truth. Okay, moving on. Verse 7. As they were increased, so their sins against me. In other words, every time he gave them my prosperity, they would start sinning again, right? My esteem they have changed into shame. They eat the sin of my people and lift up the desire of their crookedness. Now, there's talk about the watchers, the evil spirits, whatever, that these demons that they're calling aliens, they actually live off of the sin of the people, right? And lift up their desires to their crookedness. So it's referring to that, the eating of the sin of my people. You're feeding the demons, the demonic world, the darkness, when you sin. Verse 9, and it shall be like people, like priests, and I shall punish them for their ways and reward them for their deeds. And they shall eat but not be satisfied. They shall whore but not increase. And for they have stopped obeying Yahuwah. Whoring and wine and new wine enslave the heart. My people ask from their wood. In other words, their idols. The idols are made of wood. And they pray to their wood. It's fussing with me. Let me get it back. Until their staff declares to them for a ruach of the whoring. Has led them astray, and they were whoring from under their Elohim, their God. They together on the mountaintops and burn incense on the hills. See, it's a sin to burn incense. You see that? Under oak and poplars and terebinth, because its shade is good. Therefore your daughters commit whoring, and your brides break wedlock. I would not punish your daughters when they commit whoring, nor your brides when they break wedlock, for the men themselves go astray with whores and offer with cult prostitutes. A people that do not understand are thrust down. In other words, they don't even understand what they're doing. Though you are a whore, Israel, yet not Yehuda, become guilty. Let not Yehuda become guilty. nor do not come up to Gilgal, nor go up to Beth. I gotta look behind the camera to see this one. Ain, nor swear an oath, saying to Yahuwah, saying, as Yahuwah lives, for Israel is stubborn, like a stubborn calf. Would Yahuwah now feed them like a lamb in a broad place? And then here it says Ephraim, or Ephraim. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. In other words, don't even worry. Don't even try to pull him back right now. Their drink is sour. They have whored continually. Her rulers wildly love fame. A wind has bound her up in the wings, and they are ashamed because of their slaughterings. Now, it talks about drinking a lot, right? But then it confused me when we got to chapter 9, and it says, it's talking about Ephraim again. They do not pour the wine offering to Yahuwah, nor are their offerings pleasing to him. So he's not upset about their drinking as much as he is the fact that they did not give him first fruits of a wine offering to Yahuwah. Okay, he's not so much upset with Israel drinking, Ephraim drinking, except that they didn't pour wine on a rock like they did in Genesis 35. Like Jacob did in Genesis 35. Israel, so chapter 9. Israel, do not rejoice with exaltation like the peoples, for you have whored from your Elohim, and you have loved a love-free I gotta move the phone. At all the threshing floors. Okay, so what kind of threshing floors is this? Oh, somebody's saying hi. Woodsmanda says hi, and I don't know how you say that name. Harley Hawkins says hi. So right here, the threshing floors is for the grapes, the crushing of the grapes, okay? Verse 2. Threshing floors and wine presses shall not feed them, and the new wine, come on, get that thing off of there. And the new wine shall fail in her. They shall not dwell in the land of Yahuwah, but Ephraim shall return to Mitzrayim and eat unclean food in Ashur. So the earlier reading talked about having taking a second group of remnant in Isaiah chapter 11, but not Ephraim. And see here, it's saying here, and not Ephraim. Ephraim is going to go back to Egypt and eat food of Asher, in Asher, not of Asher, but in Asher. Like Asher they're in the idolatry of Asher. Just like we're in Messiah, Ephraim is in Asher. Why? If you read on down, it talks about them eating the pig and eating blood, eating fat. They do not pour the wine offering to Yahuwah, being like bread of mourners to them. So it's gonna, to their being, it's like the bread of mourning. It chokes in their mouth, right? Because they didn't give first fruits. Today's first fruits. For the bread is their life. It does not come into the house of Yahuwah. Well, of course their sacrifices come in the house of Yahuwah, in Jerusalem, but not in heaven. Not in the new Jerusalem. Not in heaven. What do you do for the appointed meeting and in the yom of the festival of Yahuwah? For look, they shall go because of destruction. Mitzrayim gathers them. So Egypt will gather them. Egypt will gather them. Moth buries them. Or moth buries them. Nettles possess the values of silver. Thorns are in their tents. The yomim of punishment. And I think thorns in their tents is actually saying thorns in their flesh, because your tent is a flesh body. So you have sickness. Okay? Verse 7. The yomim of punishment, the days of punishment, have come, and the yomim of retribution have come. Israel knows the prophets is a fool. The man of the Ruach is mad because of the greatness of your crookedness, and great is the enmity. Elohim, or that means Eloah to me. I like the name of Eloah because of my visions, the one true God. Elohim's watchman over you, Ephraim, is the prophet, but a trapper's snare is in all his ways. Enmity is in the house of his Elohim. They have deeply corrupted themselves, as in the yomim of Gibeah, in the days of Gibeah. He remembers their crookedness. He punishes their sins. I found Israel like grapes. Okay, there it talks about grapes again. He found Israel like grapes in the wilderness. I saw their fathers as the first fruits on the fig tree in its beginnings. They themselves have gone to Baal Peor. That's why I believe it's the church. Baal Peor. That is Lord. You can translate that Lord. Okay? So they don't want to say the name of Yahuwah because they replaced it with Lord so that they can worship Baal. And separated themselves to shame. So they separated themselves from Yahuwah so that they can be ashamed, right? Instead of calling him Yahuwah, they call him Baal. They call him Lord. And became as my eyes are getting tired. Abominable as that which they loved. So they loved Egypt, and they became abomination. And it even talks about no birth, that he causes them not to be able to conceive. It's like, I don't know if Ephraim is going to have a remnant the way it looks. They murder their children. How do they murder their children? It's just like the church. They have a real conversion, but then they walk outside and feed them pig. They give them a ham sandwich. Give them, O Yahuwah, give what? So in other words, people say, pray for them and give them healing or give them finances. And he says, give them what? And I've had that. I pray for people that are in the church, and I can pray for people on the street and they get healed, boom, instantly. I pray for people in the church, and it's here. I can hear God say, and give them what? Give them a miscarriage, a miscarrying womb, and a dry breasts. Oh my God. All their evil is in the Gilgal, for I have hated them because of the evil of their deeds. I drive them from my house. No more do I love them. All their rulers are rebels. So you better think about what you eat. And if you're listening to God, Yahuwah, Sabaoth, because you got to live a Leviticus diet, and you got to keep the 10 Commands. See, right there it says, they rebelled against his Torah. And if you say, oh, this is just the New Testament, nah. I'll take you right back to the very back. There you go. I'll go ahead and give you this for real quick. Baal, or Bel. Lord. See that? Okay, let's go to Revelation. Where it talks about the whore of Babylon. Oh, I'm getting tired. I gotta get off here. Here's the Bel and the great mother of the whore of the abomination. You see that right there? That's why he says that he's going to get rid of the mother. I think it's in 21 because that's where I was headed. This particular scripture hasn't been marked all in it yet. Where does it talk about Jezebel? Wherever it is, it says that she causes them to eat foreign meats and their blood. Meaning unclean meats in their blood. And it says it right in Revelation. And that means that it's all the way through the scripture. The Leviticus diet needs to be handled and eaten properly. I can't find it right now. My eyes have already strained from reading so much. I love y'all. God bless you. Bye bye.